quick story. I lived and worked in China for about 3 years. 2017, 2018, 2019. Came back to the States right before COVID jumped off. It was my plan to, after spending these years in China, kind of like, okay, I can do this. I wanted to buy a home, build a home, live in China now. I was going to go for my PhD and just kind of settle in. When I started to look outside of the main city in which I was living, it was expensive out to live in the city. I looked and asked my friends in the surrounding area, and they said, "Oh, Karen, no. You're not gonna own land in China. You're not gonna be able to do that." I'm going, "You can't buy land?" I'm like, "Why not?" They're just like, China doesn't sell land, not even to their citizens. You can't own land in China. The land belongs to the government, to the people, right? So I say that because having returned to Jamaica, I realized that a big piece of the beach that I used to swim when I was a child, and now have come back to utilize, has been sold off. And I'm wondering, and when I say sold off, I know, I don't understand who owned it or how people own land in Jamaica. But that beach that I and my children used is now going to be sold and has been sold. And I hear that this practice of selling land to foreign nations or foreigners with the most money, I guess, I don't know. My question is, just a long short of it, how do you assign a value to the land that we're selling? What is the exchange? What do they say? Okay, we want this in exchange for what? What do Jamaican people get? What do we get for that? And how do we assign a value to the land that we're selling? Is it they offer us bridges and roads and belts and roads, and we say, okay, here's a piece of land. We're gonna give you belts and roads, and you give us land. Is that how we negotiated? Is that the value that we placed? How else did the Jamaican people benefit from this other than belts and roads? Because certainly, if you quantify what it cost the Chinese to build all that we're probably having to pay back anyway, and then now we're also giving them land, or did they build the roads for free? How did this work? Just kind of get me up to speed to this, please. I'm sorry. I've been out of the loop. I just have a couple questions about this whole deal, how we do things in Jamaica, because I know we may have to go before government time, because maybe the land wasn't even owned by the government. It had been owned by the slave owners or whatever. But now we need to be cautious about selling land, because if China, you can't buy land in China, there's a reason for that, and we need to look at that as well. Because if anybody can just buy up land, so like Bill Gates just buy up all this land, because they have all the money in the world, I'm going. So you have all this paper that you're giving people for land space. So I don't understand how that all works out. So someone, please help me. Please help me.